Swag out there and
Webster, the
boss.
man, the voice, the fragrance. We're here with another creator, Laurie Calcaterra of the Path of the Pale Rider. Laurie, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Now, tell us about Path of the Pale Rider.
So Path of the Pale Rider is a Western apocalypse comic book series where death has been broken. So, what I mean by that is your body can die, but your soul, your energy, your consciousness, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't leave your body upon your death. So, you get to hang out and enjoy your own decay phase, and your brain literally rots in your skull. So,
That
we
doesn't sound
have
pleasant.
I know. I was like, we have undead, but they're not like flesh craving, brain eating zombies. It's you, it's me, it's your neighbor, your mom. Um, but slowly becoming more and more chaotic because they're use less and less of their brain. So
Okay.
forgetful, violent, detached. They mirror more like the decline of a dementia or Alzheimer's person
Okay.
in fast forward in the beginning.
Okay. Interesting.
Hmm.
It's definitely a different premise because and when I think of even where the brain is still active when it comes to zombies, you always have to go to Return of the Living Dead, especially when they have the scene of the zombie and the cadaver talking about. They ask them, why do you eat brains to stop the suffering? And most, I don't say lots, but a lot of films in the zombie genre don't necessarily look at that aspect of
Right.
there's still brain function. How does that really correspond with the decay of the body? So I think that's a very interesting
Mhm.
premise, especially since they're not the flesh eating, but there's a um what is the line, um the Return of the Living Dead or the Night of the Living Dead, um anyway, I forget the line about hell
It'll come
being
to you
full
later.
soul, healthing being full soul, the living walk the earth. And that's literally what it's
When
like. But
when hell is full, yeah, the
yeah,
dead will walk the earth.
yeah.
It could be something like that. You never know. But the whole point is, we start the story 10 years into this apocalypse, and
Okay.
it's not just people that can be undead, it's animals, insects, fish, everything. Death is broken. Okay. So nothing
Wow.
can truly leave ever. And it creates a lot of problems. Things have devolved back to the Wild West,
Okay.
so that's the western aspect of it. So 10 years into this, our main guy is a cowboy, and he's kind of the last guy still looking for the answer to what started this all, what broke death, why do the dead no longer die? With any kind of crisis, there's only so long people can take it until they're just like, I just don't care. I want to move on, right? I mean, we just
Right.
did that in 2020 where it was like, all right, I'm done with this. We're done with COVID.
Right.
Let's move on. Um, but he's still determined to find the answer, and he's been looking. So issue one is very much about Jude St. Clair, who is the cowboy, how terrible the world is, and how any little decision you make can have dire consequences. So issue two, we went to a town called Santa Claus. It's a real town in Arizona. It's a ghost town. It's really fun. So he ends up in this town looking for something or somebody, finds it, and it turns out to be way different than what he was expecting. Um, Both of those issues have killer endings. When you read them, you either get mad at me and throw your comic, or you'll just be like, Lori, I need the next one. It's one or the other.
Right.
So don't hate me, and also don't get too attached to anybody because we kill a lot of people. The series.
Well, as should be the case in any zombie movie, don't get attached.
Exactly. But I mean, like, they can still come back as an undead person.
Yeah,
So it's
quite the
just because
same.
they're
Yes.
dead doesn't mean that they're out of the story.
So you're launching, or you've launched issue 3 on Kickstarter.
Yes, we launched on Monday.
Okay.
We're at
And
90%
yeah,
already.
I saw. I'm like, you guys are almost there in just a couple of days. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you. I am flabbergasted. This is the first one that's been like, like really taken off. So just so grateful for everybody that showed up on day one. And we're gonna, find some more people who want to go along for the ride. Absolutely.
Now let me ask you, where did the idea for Path of the Pale Rider come from?
So, okay. I started writing this series back in 2018. And what I was doing prior to writing was choreographing fight scenes and doing stunts for a production company in Detroit called Coattail Collective.
Okay.
And I was writing web content for them and had this idea like, what would happen if death was broken? Where would we all go if no one could leave? Kind of thing. And built the whole world, spent a lot of time thinking about pretty much every aspect you can think of. How would humans react? How would animals react? All of that before I even conceived of the story. Had to come
Right.
up with like what actually happened so that there was a problem to solve. It's just, I grew up watching Westerns with my dad, Clint Eastwood movies, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Pale Rider. Um, they call me Trinity. So many good Westerns, specifically the spaghetti Western genre.
Right.
And that I think kind of influenced me to like apocalypse movies as well. Because if you think about a Western, it's like it's lawless, limited resources. A lot of times they're wearing what they need. So to me, I was like, yeah, I just put that together. Like it makes sense that I would also like apocalypse genre. I like those situations because it kind of puts someone in a crucible. It puts them in the hot seat where they have to make decisions they probably wouldn't have to make. So that's what I wanted for my character, to be able to move through this lawless place in a situation that is very difficult, and see what decisions they make and see if they can stick around long enough to find the answer. So it's a wild ride.
Yeah, I think that offers a lot of moral conundrums,
Yes.
environmental conundrums. It really, in some respects, you think characters in that situation start to ask, okay, what really makes us human? What makes us us?
Exactly. Is it important to be human, or excuse me, alive? Is it important to be alive in this world anymore if you can continue?
Right.
Um, and then we were talking about, this comes up a lot, but we talk about food in this world. Because if animals, it's the same situation, like you can kill an animal, but they're still active. How do you butcher a cow if it's
Right.
still moving? And then when you go to eat your hamburger, it's still moving. No, thank you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not eating a quivering burger. Not on my
Right.
list.
Yeah, that's a very, you never think about it that way. Even after cooking, it's still, you know,
Still there.
I guess a part of a whole, and it's still moving and has life to it.
Right. At what point, where does energy stop and molecules begin? See what I
Right.
mean? So it's like if there's something in every cell of us and it doesn't leave when you die, then you have a moving cheeseburger and you have moving chicken nuggets, and um, food becomes a major issue. Even with insects, pesticides don't work.
Right.
They continue to eat even though they probably don't need to when they're undead.
Right.
So now we have crop issues, we have water issues. It's like we have all sorts, and then ethical problems about the undead. Like, once you become undead, how long do you keep your rights? Can you own property? Can you drive cars? Can you own firearms? Can you vote? Where do you go once you become forgetful and unpredictable and a risk to not only yourself but everybody around you? Um, it's a big problem.
So so this only extends to animals, not to plants, right?
Plants, it's the same thing. I mean, they won't continue to grow once
Okay.
they're undead, but I mean, like they'll still be there. They'll be
Okay.
dead and rotting just like everything else. So I mean, like plants, it's pretty much the same.
Got it.
Like,
I'm just thinking of the whole ecological aspect of
yeah.
that.
What about like
And
viruses and bacteria?
yeah,
Hmm.
like the whole world is literally in chaos.
Yes. And it is the whole world. It's not one localized place. It's everywhere. Um, it's a problem. But it's what we're going to tackle in this next issue. So
Okay.
issue 3, we actually do a extended flashback. So issue 3, 4, 5, and 6, we're going back in time. So 3, we're going back to the day that death broke, and you'll get to see it through the eyes of Jude St. Clair, who is no longer a cowboy at this point. This is before
Right.
all that. And we're going to go through about 5 years of the apocalypse in issue 3. So it's great for the narrative. You'll see a lot of immediately what happens, and then everything start to crumble very fast. We're going to see our beloved Big James show up again. He's our undead bear that made a very notable appearance in issue 1, and kind of everybody loves Big James. He's like the mascot now. Everybody loves him. So he'll be back. I actually had a reward tier where someone could get drawn into the comet getting mauled by Big James. Someone got that, so they'll be making an appearance in issue 3, getting their head knocked off, probably something like that. So it's
So where?
good.
So how long do you see the series going for? Because you already have it tracked up to issue 6.
We have 13 issues in kind of the
Okay.
first like if we're talking like a Netflix seasons, right? It's
Mhm.
season 1, 2, 3. We have 3 seasons. Season 1 is 13 issues. Season 2 is 12. I've written 9 of those. And then there will be season 3. There is an ending. I have written the ending of the whole thing. So we'll get there eventually. But it's like it's very cinematic. Me coming from screenplay, you're going to see like an act 1, an act 2, and an act 3 play out in each season, like if it was a full-length movie, something like that we're breaking up into comic book floppies. So like issues 1 through 4 is kind of like the first act, maybe 4 acts, maybe, I don't know. Math, it's great.
No, I get it. I get it. Now, I want to ask you, like, what are some of your favorite zombie movies? Since we're talking about the quote unquote undead and just a new take on it.
Well, I mean, it depends on what kind of zombie you're talking about. Always the classic George Romero, right? There were
Hmm.
zombies kind of before that, but they really didn't become what they are now until
Right.
George Romero. So
Right.
Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, like his slow moving, very human zombies were still very scary at that
Yes.
time. It wasn't until like the 90s that we got fast zombies, like the
Yeah.
remake where they were in the mall. Excellent. That was,
Yeah.
that scared the crap out of me, where they were casting people with like amputees that were missing limbs, and they were some of these zombies that were like in the garage basement where he was like
Yeah, I
swinging
saw
from the
that.
pipes.
Yeah,
Oh, that was so scary, right? And they were fast. They were running at you with like missing arms. The whole opening for that with the little girl,
that's
that will
beautiful.
change your life.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen a zombie and you watch that one, oh my God.
No, I agree. I think that one definitely restarted the zombie
Yes.
genre, and it was a perfect movie to do it. Um,
Yes.
you had a you had people come in who were familiar with the original property, and then people who were not. And then you see that you can just really, I loved it being a fan of George Romero, but also
Yes.
just it offers something new and different. It was just done so well. You can't really say that about all remakes or
Right.
reimaginings of movies, and it was just done so well. And it was a perfect movie come out at the perfect time to really kick everything off as far as that zombie renaissance we had in the early to mid 2000s.
Exactly. So that was kind of at the start of that. Shaun of the Dead was very
Yes.
tongue in cheek about the zombie genre. It was like very aware that they were making fun of themselves, but still checked all the boxes of things that to have in a zombie, movie. Where like one's in the house and it's a friend or like the
Right.
stepdad or whomever. And then like the bar scene where you got pulled through the window and like hilarious movie, terrifying movie. Again, spot on. So there's that one. What else? We had fast moving zombies. We've had infection zombies. So
Right.
like 28 days later, classic. Love that one. Very much a spotlight on quick infection, and then humans, how they would react in a dark way if it was really, the apocalypse and we were acting lawless. You know what I mean? So that one was really an eye opener. Again, fast zombies. When he got hit in the eye, do you remember that part where the
Yes.
bird was cawing and it was what's the actor's name? Big one with the beard. He's in everything. He's been in like Harry Potter.
Oh, Robbie Coltrane.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
When he got hit in the eye with the was it Robbie Coltrane? I don't know. I
No,
have
no,
to
no.
look it up.
Oh, Gleason.
No, he played Mad Eye Moody.
Yeah. Gleason. I
That's
forget his
it.
first name.
That's
Yeah.
it. But he's a big guy, and when he
Yeah.
got hit in the eye and started turning and couldn't control himself, that was scary. That was so scary, heartbreaking. And if we've learned anything, don't go in the tunnel, right?
Right.
Whew, don't go in the tunnel, people. But they
Yeah.
always do. They always find this tunnel. Even in
Yeah.
one of the episodes of Last of Us, he came up to a tunnel, and I was like, he better not go down that tunnel.
Yeah, it's
He
always
didn't,
even
but
in
I was,
Walking Dead, there was a tunnel at one point in
of
time.
course.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
always a
Walking
tunnel.
Dead was a great series for a long time.
It was.
I think it kind of jumped the shark. I think people were unprepared for how brutal Negan was going to be unless they had read the comic,
See, I
which
had
I
read
have.
it up at that point, so I knew what was going to
Yeah,
happen.
we just didn't know who it was going to happen to,
Right.
right? Because a lot of they
Right.
were notorious for like changing out deaths. So, but when it happened, there's a lot of people that were like, "And I'm done." But it's like, but this is comic accurate, you
Right.
know. I just recently went back and finished that series. So, Alpha was hard to watch. She was, wasn't she?
Yes.
Watching Alpha, I was just like, oh, I can't do it. She's so creepy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I agree.
Train to Busan,
That's a
excellent.
beautiful movie. That is so
Um,
awesome.
yeah, there really hasn't been a good new zombie. Like that was again, how when was that? Like 2013, 14, somewhere around there,
Yeah. I know
right?
they did a sequel to it, which wasn't.
Right.
I mean, it was good, but it just wasn't the same sort of vein.
Yeah.
They're more action oriented compared to Train to Busan, the original one.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
that's what
that
happens,
really has none of
you know.
things that hit the pop culture zeitgeist since then. Train to Busan was probably really the last big one that everybody got behind as far as a zombie movie. You know, they're
Movie.
always indie ones. Unfortunately, you always have
Uh,
companies like Saban who make horrible knockoffs.
yeah. I mean, we're all done with Resident Evil. We're done. We're done with it. Like, do we have to talk about them? We should just move on.
You
Um,
know,
tell me your thoughts.
especially with his passing past the couple days
I
ago, it's so
know.
bad to think that's like the last things I saw him in.
Was
And I
B
couldn't get through the
Blade?
first episode of that Netflix series. I'm like, what is what why? I mean, you got your check, bro. I feel you, but this is
He's such a great actor, though.
he
They had
was.
to do. I mean, if it wasn't for him playing that role, I bet you people would have never watched. Like, they wouldn't have gotten past
I
episode
would have
one.
started watching a period if he wasn't in in that
Right.
series.
I mean, but we as horror fans and Resident Evil fans, we're always like, they're gonna get it right with the next one. They don't.
Right.
It's like,
Right. You
ugh,
know, you we it's
we
like
hope.
we keep hoping.
Yeah, exactly. And when it's like Lance Reddick is in there, we're like, yes, yes. And then we're like, no.
No.
Why is
Like
he
what
in
is this
Olive Garden? What is going
right? What is this giant caterpillar thing?
Oh, it was bad. I was like, this is how we're starting? Okay.
Right.
Nobody likes Jade. Nobody likes her. It was
Nope.
bad.
Nope.
But Last of Us has been really good for zombie genre for helping me too, where it's like I'm a zombie genre. A lot of people hear zombie genre and they're just out where they're like, no,
Right.
zombies are not a thing anymore. Like you need to move on. But it's like understand my concept. We're a lot different than what you're used to, and you've never seen this before. You know what I mean? So it kind of helps when zombies are popular for people to at least give us a look.
Right.
Also, Cocaine Bear coming out was great for us too. Because Big James is on like all of our covers. So people are like, hey, it's a
It's a
big
bear.
undead bear. We love him. I'm like, he'll eat your face, but all right.
That sounds really great. So let me ask you this question: how much of a time period has it been between issues 2 and issues 3, as
How
far
much
as like
time?
publication?
Oh, so we kickstarted issue 2 in September. It was like end of September to end of October.
Okay.
So the book was finished in January. We actually we did black and white for issue number 1. we were right on the cusp of getting to a stretch goal for color for 2. We went ahead and did the color. So we took an extra 3 weeks to color the comic. So it's been done and the PDF has been sent to everybody. It went to print and my printer has pooped the bed. There's no other way to put it. We think they were printed and they're lost. So it's been great. So I'm going to have to actually reprint all of my issue 2 books.
Oh man.
Yeah. I don't like talking negative about anybody. I'm not a printer. I don't understand the process. But in the same light, it's like, come on, guys, everybody's waiting for their books. Let's
Right.
figure this out. So at this point, I'm working really closely with my publisher because it's their printer who like disappeared. We want to make sure first that he's still alive, right?
Gotcha. Yes.
Um, and then after that, it's like, okay, where they printed? Did you ship them and they got lost? Where's the tracking number? Because the last thing I want to do is place another order and then they'll show up and I have to reject them because I can't double pay. I can't afford that. You know, I'm an
Right.
indie. Um,
Understood.
the other thing about going with a new printer is I'm going to have to reformat all the books because they all print it a little differently. They all format a little differently. So, I mean, if that's what I need to do, I'll do it. It's just unfortunate and time consuming, but I was hoping to go a little quicker, but it's just things that are outside of my control. Trying to stay positive. People will get their books for 2. Issue 3, we won't have that problem because we're not even going to mess with that printer. We're going somewhere else.
Got you. Understood.
Plus,
Well,
we brought on a colorist. So there's
right.
myself and Marco that created books 1 and 2. In book 3, we have another team member. So every time Marco finishes the page, it'll go to Marta and Marta will color it. And then it comes to me for lettering. And it's a whole lot quicker than waiting for Marco to finish the book and then go back and color the book.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was asking because currently with issue 3, how it's been only Kickstarter's only been up 3 days, and you're pretty much 90+% to your goal. One
Yes.
thing I found, especially when you have developed a fan base, they tend to wait and salivate at the next issue, and as soon as it comes out, they jump on it immediately. And if so, as someone who's backed comics before, especially series, I've waited anywhere from 3 months to 2 years between issues with some series, and I was like, oh, it's up. Click, click, click. As soon as it comes on, let me
Right.
put in my donation on my bid now. So that just really is a testament of how well received, in my opinion, issues 1 and 2 have been by your fan base, and how you're growing and expanding that fan base as well, with issue
Yes.
3 pretty much always there. And let's be realistic, knock on plywood right here, is going to reach that goal and probably then some, at this point in time. So I
Yes.
wish you you and the team all the success in the world.
Thank you. Yes. Like I said, I'm floored. The first 2 issues was just typical campaign. Like you have a very good like first and second day, and you kind of plateau, but it's like 1 or 2 come in for the next couple of weeks, and then you skyrocket again at the end. Our goal has always stayed the same. We run a budget of 4,550. It actually takes a little bit more than that to produce a color issue with the art team that I have, but we usually end up like 112, 114% to goal, which works. So our goal is the same this time. It's 4,550. So we'll see what percentage we end at. I am so encouraged because that means that we can do stuff like go back and color issue number 1, you know, or
Mhm.
maybe I don't have to absorb too much of the cost of the reprint.
Right.
Right? Because that's a thing. So we'll see. We'll see where we end up at. I'm having fun. I don't care where we end up. I'm just happy people are reading the story and having a good time with all of the extra things that we do because we do a lot of shenanigans.
Well, shenanigans are fun, and that's what makes comics fun, in my opinion. For me, Kickstarter has been just a wonderful way to support people that I know and have met over the years, and support their creations, as well as discovering new comics as well. I
Yes.
think just with the self-publishing avenues that are available, it's just more fun as a reader to find books that you never would have thought you could have read as a kid when you first got into comics. And again, nothing wrong with reading, and again, being I'm 44, so I got in mid 90s, early mid 90s. So literally it's X-Men, Spider-Man, and Superman. You got the big ones, and this is before even Image, and we really knew
Mhm.
about Dark Horse, and you had Comico and some of the other ones that end up being on comic racks every now and again. You're like, what is this? But now it's you go on the internet, you can go to conventions, even comic book
Yeah.
shops. It's just you can find all of these independent books and find all these wonderful stories that would never ever see the light through mainstream lenses, and it's just so awesome and amazing. And I really thank you for your time today, Laurie. It's really been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Can I mention a couple things before we end?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So in
Oh, we're not
addition,
done yet.
oh, okay. I was like, are you ending? I was like, oh no. So I wanted to talk about the shenanigans.
Okay, yes, shenanigans.
Shenanigans. All right. So with every comic book that comes out, let me back up. So the world that I built is so big that there's a lot of stuff that happens. And if our protagonist is walking a certain path of the story and he doesn't encounter some of these things, I don't get to tell that story. You know what I mean? It's told from his point of view.
Right.
So we decided early on that we would give the readers a chance to experience more things from the world with additional mediums, hence the shenanigans. So every issue that comes out, the back cover is a riddle. And if you solve the riddle, it leads you to something in the real world. So either a location online, a phone number to call, who knows where that will lead, websites for you to hack, hidden YouTube videos. Issue 2, when you solve that riddle, you get a interaction with a character. I'm planning old radio shows,
Oh,
um,
awesome.
all sorts of stuff because like I said, it's so big. There's more things to encounter and enjoy besides just the main storyline. That's the meat and potatoes. That's what's going to get you to the answer because we will tell you the answer of what broke Death. You'll find it. However, you're going to want you to miss out all the stuff that goes along that he's not seeing, right? So there's that. And plus, since I come from production, I want to make short films. I love doing that. So we explore more of the world with these short films and they're fan interactive. So if you want to be in the short film, you can be. I usually put out the theme or a shot list that I'm looking for. Right now, I'm looking for people to send me pictures of themselves being dead on the ground. Um, you could take a picture of yourself with your camera phone and send it to me, and you'll be in the next short film.
Okay.
So we've done a couple of those. Like we did a commercial for an undead retirement community. The second one we did, I dressed up as a reporter. We ran a news report interviewing people like, what do you think broke Death? And people could say whatever they wanted. It was really funny. Um, some people had like really thought out answers too. They were like, it's food, it's vaccines, chemicals, government conspiracy theory, aliens. Other people were like, it's voodoo pygmies. And I was like, oh, okay. Like that's a little reaching, but cool. We'll put it in. And I usually do stunts in these. So, there's usually something like I think in number 2, yeah, I got run over by a car. So if you want to see me get squished a few times, it's in the short films.
Okay. And where can you find the short films?
There are a couple places. Like if you go to the Kickstarter page and you scroll to the bottom, I always show like the previous riddles and the previous short films. So they're all in one place. If you want to see just the short films, they're on my YouTube page. It's just my name, Laurie Calcaterra. So type that in, but you're going to get other stuff. Like you'll get my martial art videos and stuff too. But they're all there. So they're fun though. There's the blooper reel is up on the YouTube page as well. From the conspiracy theory one where everybody was just messing up and it was a good time. Yeah, and I'm currently working on the third one now. It's a psychological horror. So it should be interesting. I did a little drone camera work. We'll see how it turns out. I'm still working on it.
Well, I like that aspect of it. I I love the audience participation part of it.
Yeah,
It definitely helps to draw people in, and it gets people to invest into your story as well. Even though like they're already investing because they're buying your book, but even
right.
more so, they become part of the experience as well. And I think that's a really cool idea.
Hmm. Fun. It's fun. And it's not like there's a stretch goal for the short film. There's no stretch goal for the riddle. It's just always part of Path of the Pale Rider. It's always something we are going to do. I think it's so much fun, and I want to continue doing those as long as I can. And I'm still thinking of new things every day to do as like um, extra experiences or answers to the riddle. The riddle for 3 is a lot of fun. It's not so much having to solve a riddle. It's more like perseverance.
Right.
The answer is on the back cover. You just have to find it. I'll just leave it at that.
Understood.
Yeah.
So, Lloyd,
So,
tell everyone where they can find Path of the Pale Rider.
oh, dude, we're everywhere. So the main group where I participate in is the Facebook group. You just have to request access to it. I think you have to answer one question, which is like, do you like comic books? It's just to make sure that there's no scammers coming in. That's where we do like the I ask questions, we play games. Today we were building a song playlist for the theme songs for Path of the Pale Rider, and it's like Hey Jude by the Beatles, and um, You Can't Kill Us by Glitch Mob, Live and Let Die by Guns N' Roses. It's just fun, you know what I mean?
Right.
Um, so that's usually where I put my updates first. That's the group that gets the most interaction. I am on Instagram and on TikTok, the same handle. It's at Path of the Pale Rider with an underscore between all the words. It's
Okay.
like the longest handle on the planet, but it's at least the same as everybody else. It's the same. I have a website. It's www.pathofthepalerider.com. I have a blog on there that nobody reads, so that's fun. I'm on Twitter at PathPaleRider. I'm just now really starting to spend more time on Twitter. It's a great community on there. It's weird how people don't usually cross, like cross. They are all very specific social media. Like there's a Twitter community, there's a
Yes.
Facebook community, there's an Instagram community. It's interesting to see who moves in which circle, and it's hard to be good at more than one.
That is very true.
So I'm spending more time on Twitter as of this campaign. So it's been fun. I've been meeting new people and picking new brains, and it's a good time. So yeah. So I think
If
that's
you're
it. I think that's all my
if you're
socials.
watching this on YouTube, when you see this, all those links will be in the show notes or be in the description. So you have to go like, what did she say? What she say? It'll be all right
Yeah.
there for you to click on.
I mean, if you search Path of the Pale Rider or Laurie Calcaterra, you'll find me. I have a show on Tuesdays. It's called the Tuesday Morning Brew. It's on the Comic Relatedness Network on Facebook. I think on YouTube channel. It's like Comic Talk with Pops Van Zant. So I interview other comic indie creators, actresses, actors, publishers, artists, writers, all of those. So it's fun too. We just get to meet new people and build community, which is fun.
Yeah, this is something I enjoy about this as well. Just meeting new people and building community also.
Right.
Well, thank you
Absolutely.
again, Lori. I appreciate it. And don't forget, check out that Kickstarter. Tell me what you think. Take
Yeah.
care.